sir?
Very nice to see you after a long time, many, many years. Sir.
Yeah. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I am at Nagarkoil. I'm living at my hometown.
I think somebody told me that you have settled down in Nagarkoil.
Yeah, that's right.
Ma'am, it has done now. It's live on.
It's done?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay. Participants are there and the live stream also. So
yes,
we can start.
I'm Chanda here. Good afternoon to you all. It is indeed an honor to be here with such an eminent panelist over fourth webinar we are having over here, Virtual Roundtable Conference. It's a series on women in leadership beyond the boundaries, and basically celebrating women leadership. And this is to someone kindly mute. Kindly, I request everyone other than the speakers to mute their sounds, mics. Thank you so much.
You are unmute. You are supposed to unmute. You are muted, Chanda.
I don't know what this is. This we are commemorating the International Women's Day 2022. Today is the fourth series, Women in Civil Service Administration. This is being organized by 3 universities: Mother Teresa's Women's University, Madurai Kamraj University, and Bhartidasan University. The series 1 was Women Leadership in Academia, and the second one was Women Entrepreneurship, Prospects and Challenges. And the third, which was yesterday, was Women Leadership in Media. Today's session, the welcome will be done by Dr. S. Jennifer, and introductory, Dr. Jennifer is Professor and Head Chairperson, Department of Journalism and Source and Science Communication, School of Linguistics and Communication, Madurai University. And the introductory remarks will be by Dr. Manimi Clay, Chair of Social Sciences, Director and Head, where I am a student of Master's course in the Department of Women's Studies of Bhartidasan University. I would like to introduce you the moderator, Chair Professor Eula Shekhar, Chair Professor of Criminology, National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science, National Forensic Science University. And our panelists, the list of who's who, S. Vrinda, retired of Madras High Court, Tamil Nadu. Mrs. Santha Nair, retired Secretary of Government of India in Delhi, former Vice Chairperson of State Planning Commission of Government of Tamil Nadu. Mrs. Jacintha Lazarus, IAS Commissioner, Commissionerate of Rehabilitation of Non-Resident Tamils, Government of Tamil Nadu. Dr. MP Nirmala IAS, retired Principal Secretary to Government of Tamil Nadu. Mrs. Dr. Z. Annie Vijaya IAS, DI Vellore. Dr. S. Meena Priyadarshini, Head and Director of Department and Center for Women's Studies, Mother Teresa Women's University. And I request Dr. Jennifer to give the welcome address. Dr. Jennifer.
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I have the pleasure and privilege to welcome all the participants, the panelists, and the organizing committee members, and the vice chancellors. Last but definitely not the least, I would like to begin with our vice chancellors, the academic administrators, who have been ably supporting us, encouraging us, all the three universities, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, Madurai Kamaraj University, and Bharathidasan University. So we three universities have come together to organize this series of women in leadership, celebrating women leadership actually. So as the comparer said, we are done with 3 series so far in this particular women in leadership series, and I really feel very honored to welcome all those present here, and especially the panelists and the other people who are going to have a very valuable and meaningful interaction and deliberation on this women in leadership. To begin with, I would like to welcome Dr. Vaidehi Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, and Dr. Selvam, Vice Chancellor, Bharathidasan University, Trichy, and Dr. V.S. Vasantha, Registrar in charge of Madurai Kamaraj University, for this particular series on women in leadership. And I would like to welcome and my heartfelt welcome and thanks to all those valuable panelists today. So most of us would have aspired to become, civil service officers, right? So at some point of in our life, you would have thought, how to become IAS officers like these panelists and serve the society. So of course, we all would be serving in our own right and our own capacities to the society. So this particular series, I really will cherish for long in listening to all the learnings and words of wisdom from these panelists. So I would like to welcome our panelist, Ms. Shanta Sheila Nair, Madam, retired Secretary to Government of India, former Vice Chairman of State Planning Commission, Government of Tamil Nadu. And I also have the privilege of introducing all the panelists. I would like to say a few words about the journey of Ms. Shanta Sheila Nair, Madam. So, Madam is from the batch of 1973. She was posted as the first woman district collector of Trichy, and she retired as a secretary to the Government of India. So, she has served more than 5 decades of her service to the country, and she's in her capacity as the Commissioner of Chennai Corporation and Trichy Corporation. She has been a nature lover, and she has carried out a mass tree planting drive, and she was instrumental in planting this 1 crore trees in Trichy, and again a huge drive in Chennai also. Madam has helped around 2 lakh children to get their polio drops and thousands of polio affected children to get their calipers, and she has been awarded with so many numerous awards. She was also the founder of Trichy Spastic Society, which caters to 300 children affected with cerebral palsy. And one important highlight of Madam's glorious career is, she, as a special officer during the state's 2004 tsunami emergency, she could, contribute heavily in shifting a large number of families to temporary shelters and restoration, and she was responsible in the successful rehabilitation process of the affected people. And as the Secretary of Municipal Administration, she had been vehemently contributing in the successful implementation of rainwater harvesting, for which she has been rightly awarded with the Excellent Contribution Award for this particular Chief Minister's rainwater harvesting program. Actually, this rainwater harvesting system is a model or flagship program of Tamil Nadu, which has actually stood as a model planning actually. So we are indebted to Madam's initiatives in this successful implementation of the program. And Madam has also has contributed considerably in efficient management of the water crisis in Chennai when she was the administrator, the commissioner of the Chennai Corporation. And as a secretary to the Government of India, Department of Drinking Water Supply and Sanitation, she is credited with revamping and coordinating the decades-old scheme of accelerated rural water supply. So we can go on and on. So we would like to express a heartfelt welcome on behalf of the organizing team, ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am. And next, I would like to welcome Ms. Nirmala IAS. And I would like to say a few words again about ma'am. Madam Nirmala IAS was the first lady deputy collector in Tamil Nadu. She has got 37 years of government service, and she has held very many senior positions in 25 departments of the state of Tamil Nadu. And she's presently the chairperson of Tamil Nadu Commission for Protection of Child Rights, TNCPCR. And she was the commissioner of Social Welfare and Nutritious Meal Program department thrice. So she has also contributed significantly in the education sector with this all this right to education thing. And she was very much concerned about the deletion of the psychometric aspect in the teacher education. And she was very much vocal, and she took so many initiatives to include that back into the curriculum. And as the chairperson of Tamil Nadu Commission for Protection of Child Rights, she has been in charge of so many child safety related, child welfare related acts like Justice Juvenile Act and Right to Education Act and Protection of POSCO Act and all those initiatives. So Madam has also been responsible in taking ahead of this cradle baby system when this scheme was first ever introduced. So welcome you, ma'am. It's our pleasure and privilege to have you, and we are very much looking forward to listen to you. And next, I would like to welcome another panelist, Ms. Jacinta Lastus, an IAS officer, 1997 batch. And as Madam has rightly said, she has been entrusted with the important duty of protecting the welfare or safeguarding the welfare of the people who are affected in this Russia-Ukraine crisis. She has also held so many positions as the secretary and deputy secretary to in the Water Resources Department, and as the director and deputy secretary in Social Welfare Department of Manipur State, and as the deputy commissioner and deputy secretary of District Administration and Land Revenue Management Department. And she has also been the deputy commissioner under undersecretary of Manipur State, and she has served in many other departments and cadres. So welcome you, ma'am. We are also very much looking forward to listen to you. And last but definitely not the least, I would like to welcome Dr. Annie Vijaya, ma'am, an IPS officer. Not many women could become IPS officer, a police officer in their career like Annie ma'am. And I have the privilege of listening to her in a couple of other occasions. Madam has been very much effective in terms of not only discharging her duties as the police officer in different capacities, but when Madam was here in Madurai region, Madam had so many involving herself in so many social responsible activities, and she could meet so many people and encourage and motivate, especially women. And I should tell, Madam has been a scholar in her own right, and Madam has completed a doctorate in criminology, and she also has got MBA degree. So really, ma'am, we are privileged to listen to you. And as we all know, there are not many women in police services. So your insights and deliberations and sharing of your experiences will definitely inspire, and looking forward to you, ma'am. So, and I also would like to welcome all the participants, especially without whose active involvement in any program of this sort will be not that effective or will become meaningless. So I really welcome, on behalf of the organizing committee, welcome all the participants, faculty members, students and scholars and activists and the other officials, and who are happily joined here to listen to the words of wisdom from the experts, the panelists. And I also would like to welcome the members of the organizing team, Dr. Manimeghale ma'am from Bharathidasan University, and Dr. Meena Priyadarshini, and all the other members of this organizing team. And now I would like to hand over the session to, and also I would like, sorry, I have forgotten to welcome. I would like to express my heartfelt welcome to Dr. Bila Shekhar ma'am, Chair, Professor of Criminology, National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science, National Forensic Science University, Delhi. Madam has agreed to moderate this very vital discussion on women in leadership with this IAS and IPS and officers who are in civil service administration. Thank you, ma'am, and it's over to Dr. Bila Shekhar ma'am.
No, I have to introduce.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Madam Beulah, please hold on for a few minutes. I'll just introduce the theme and come. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jennifer, for the welcome, and also Chanda for anchoring. Respected panelists who are all senior enough to be the panelist here, to be the role model for all of us who are gathered here, the moderator and the organizing departments from 3 universities, and the participants who are present here. Very good afternoon to you all. I just spent a few minutes on the need for this kind of discussion, the round table. So we are in the era where this particular year, you're able to see, hear me? There is some disturbance coming. So the theme of, check. Is that okay, Jennifer? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there is some disturbance.
You're audible. You're audible.
You're audible. You're audible.
So gender, the theme of March 8th, 2022 is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. So we have been talking on ensuring gender equality. I think right from Madam Shantasila Nair, when she was here in Trichy, it is Trichy's pride that we had Madam here as the IAS officer, and I was there in the Holy Cross College when she was the collector, and we had the privilege of meeting her there. And so we have been talking, and there are a number of UN initiatives, state initiatives, center initiatives, but still we keep crying that gender equality is not there. And the recent report by the very gender, one second, Madam Annie is trying. Meena, please attend her. I think there is some problem of audio. Please check. And the major issues of concern, why I highlight.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Annie ma'am has some issue in her mic. I think it's better if she leave and join again. She has some issue with her mic.
Yeah, she's calling me. Yeah. Please, you have her number also. Okay, I think she's on her line, but our audio is not going. That is the reason.
Yeah. Yes.
And so these are the issues, the major concerns, that is the declining economic participation rate among the women. It is a global phenomenon for the past 2.5 decades or so. It is not just happening. And in the pandemic, during pandemic, it has reached the worst, the lowest in its rate of 19, though it was just 23% just pre-pandemic. And particularly when it comes to the participation leadership position, it has been tremendously low in the global context as well as in the Indian context. Though there has been a number of measures to motivate women, there has been a lot of issues, particularly the leaky pipeline, what you say, the flow is not smooth. Several women, they just withdraw from the promotions and other things, and therefore they are not able to join. And this particular roundtable has been particularly to focus to those women and also the emerging leaders to withstand the pressures, both the professional and the personal front, so that you will make the pipeline flow smoothly. And here we have those models who have made a mark in their respective fields. So there is a need to transform the gender-based norms, which reinforces the gender inequality or gender-biased outlook. And there is a division that women means the private space and men means the public space, and that the tradition still got deep-rooted in the patriarchal context, and you have to overcome and really prove, doubly prove. Even yesterday we listened to the speakers from media and how much they struggle to prove themselves. And there is a wide divide in English and Tamil media for the sake, at least in English medium, they really have some kind of freedom and more women. I was really surprised to hear from Ramya Kannan, the Hindu, that around 60% of the women are there in media now, in English media. So that is very much an appreciable, though still we feel that it is a masculine field, or the private context, the family themselves, people are not encouraging the women and daughters to join there in the media. And it was even claimed that there is safety and protection and not an issue to join media. So recognizing the women's agency and the agents, or as agents of development, is the key for the sustainable development, which we keep talking. So if you are really interested in ensuring sustainable development, we cannot ignore the 50% of the population. Of course, all the state, the governments are making all efforts, but still it is not reaching because of the kind of social norms. So the flagship generation equality campaign has been taking world over, and the recent 65th session on the Commission on the Status of Women also focused on women's full and effective participation in decision making, particularly in public life, and that was highlighted as the major concern. So that is why the leadership, the effective leadership, is the need of the hour, and the policies and interventions need to be focused on what we currently been discussing, including the inclusive development, the shared prosperity and decent work, and that too in the pandemic context, the working conditions were worst, the wages have not been paid proper, and that too, it has been happening till now to the informal sector women. And recently I did a study on sanitation needs of the women, and you see construction workers, the domestic workers, the street vendors really lack sanitation facilities. They don't go to the toilet for 12 hours together. And that is the kind and plight of the issues that we have been undergoing even in this 75th year of independence, and such a registered growth in science and technology. And we keep talking about poverty eradication, social protection and social services, and also the freedom from violence, stigma and stereotype. They go together, right? From your female feticide to the kind of the increasing violence against women, be it the rape to the recent cyber crimes, the stalking, the strolling, etc. And so they also come in a way in the progress of the women, and we need to overcome as women in the field. You shouldn't give space or should not yield yourself to those issues that if we go to public life, it'll we will caught up with those things. We have people who have proved and overcome all that, and we are going to listen to them. And therefore, participation, accountability, that is very important. Having spent so much, like equally like your own classmates, the girls are also spending, but back home, they just married off and going and taking care of only family, not hiring out your labor is really a colossal waste on the one hand, and you are accountable and you have to have a say over that. So at least for that sake, both the state and the individuals are responsible and should be accountable. And so we have to focus on the areas where the progress hasn't been much done, both in the Indian context and the global context. You can see education is really thriving, the economic participations to a certain extent, taking the absolute population, there has been an increase, but in terms of percentage, it has been declined, and there is a withdrawal of women from the labor market in the current context that has to be condemned, and particularly is taking place in the middle class. And the improvement in health outcomes has been much appreciable thanks to our leaders here who have contributed to those areas, and the MMR has almost halved. That was a huge issue, particularly in Indian context, and it was the first, number one in the global context. So now, thanks to all the initiatives by our own state and the people who were instrumental, like our own speakers invited here. So expansion of leadership, I want to underline here the issues of intersectional variables too, in terms of caste, class, religion, region, that I don't know, I have to listen from the leaders here whether there were some such issues. We wanted to bring people from different class, caste also, but everybody is engaged and we could not get, but still our panelists will throw light on that. So we need to focus on the challenges, though we are comfortable in certain areas. Particularly, there is a limited government coordination and collaboration. That is one of the issues highlighted there in the UN forum, and insufficient implementation of the relevant laws, particularly the women-focused law, whether it is the Domestic Violence Prevention Act or the Sexual Harassment Protection Act or the POCSO or the Criminal Law Amendment, whatever, the Dowry Prohibition Act also. So the strengthening the implementation of the law also, along with breaking the stereotype and addressing the social norms, the customary practices are very much important. And so the discriminatory social norms continue to limit women's and girls' abilities to exercise, enjoy their rights, and that contribute to persisting gender gaps. So with this background, I would like to reinforce here that further efforts need to be done to end violence against women and girls, and not to propagate that women's participation in public life would involve thorns and challenges. One has to come, when having assumed charge, you have to perform, you have to overcome. That is a kind of a message we want to give, and that will very much come from our panelists. So there is a need to increase women's political participation, which is already happening, and enhance the economic participation and sustain economic participation. It's not that before marriage you participate and leave after marriage. And also improve women's health. That is a pressing issue, particularly in the pandemic. Though as frontline workers, many women, mostly women have contributed, but they were the sufferers, particularly the first time India has recognized the unpaid care work also, and they started recognizing, and thanks to government of Tamil Nadu that they have announced 1,000 rupees for the women. So these are the efforts taking place, but still a long way to go. And additional investments must go to social protection, and particularly this inclusive digital access, which even the union budget recently announced they had made, but the perspective in which the digital access to be made without providing internet and other things, it is a great challenge. So with these words, I would like to leave it to the panelists, and Dr. Beulah will moderate. So what we felt that our panelists must have contributed to address these issues, whichever I have highlighted here, over their years of stay. For more than half a decade, our panelists have stayed there in the administration, and must have definitely made mark in their administration for being socially committed leaders in the administration, particularly the areas which I have highlighted over the concerns of the marginalized, the vulnerable women, in terms of addressing the basic needs and facilities. I know how Madam Shantasila Nair was very much into the health and the sanitation issues, and proactive in introducing, and Madam Nirmala too, and she was there to inaugurate the Menstrual Hygiene Management Consortium way back in 2010 when it was done there in Chennai from Bharathidasan University. It was initiated with the support of UNICEF, and access to the PDS. That was one of the major issues, and if security is ensured, at least the other issues will be taken care of. So it was taken care of by our own panelists, and grassroots mobilization, building the capacity building of the self-help group women, and innovative and creative areas like various areas they have made milestones. So all these we will be hearing from them, and you have to choose your own areas of concern so that the what you have understood, highlighted, that the gender equality today and tomorrow. So with these words, I hand over to Dr. Beulah to moderate the session and invite the panelists. Thank you very much.
Very good evening, and a huge thank you to the organizers for having me here to moderate this very important session. We have a very good, strong panel of achievers, distinguished speakers as well. So we would be gaining a lot from their experience sharing here with us this afternoon. So we as achievers, we always use this time around March 8th to do three things mainly. One would be, as I see it, to celebrate our successes and share our success stories. And the second thing that we always do during this time is assess our development and our growth, and do a kind of a SWOT analysis, assess our strengths, assess our limitations, assess our opportunities and our threats as well. And the third thing we like to do is to prepare for challenges ahead. So this session, in a way, culminates all these three things together, and we hope that our panelists here today would throw some light on all these three areas today. And before we go on to the session, I'd like to acknowledge that we are here today as achievers, and this journey was neither a cakewalk nor a bed of roses, but still we have made it and we are here. So the panel largely consists of administrators, and we all know that administration is the backbone of every organization, every state. And the other panelist is also from the law enforcement, which we again see that we need to have peace and security in any nation or any state or any community before we think about development. So without the peace and security, we cannot move forward. And we also have panelists from the social justice area, so ensuring social justice. So I'm sure all these three groups of people would be sharing their stories with us today. And it's a good thing that we as achievers have.
Beulah,
Yes.
Madam Jacinda Lazarus will join. She said she will join anytime. She called me and informed me.
Okay. So we see it's a great achievement because we have moved from having only 9% in 1970 in the administration. Now we have about 20%. The 2021 statistic shows that there are 20% of women in the administration in the IASM. But still, it's a long journey ahead. And as a preparation to this, we'd like to have our panelists speak to us. And the first speaker would be Ms. Shanta Sheila Nair. And we'd like you, Ms. Nair, to share with us your success stories and what was the driving force behind you and how you faced these challenges. Over to you. Without further ado, I'd hand over the session to you, Ms. Sheila Nair.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Madam Manimekale. It's good to see Nirmala, my dear colleague, and we have worked together a lot. It's nice to share shared experiences together, and thanks to you, Beulah, and all other participants. The first thing that I asked when I was requested to participate in this discussion was, who's the audience? And I was told that they are mostly students. And then I thought that, the world that I faced 40 years ago when I joined the civil service is not the world of today's young girls. So I don't know if the environment which prompted me to join the civil service is quite the same as the environment today's girls face. But only suffice it to say that there have been 7 decades in which women IAS officers have been performing, right from Anna George in 1951 to today, though our percentage has grown only from 9% in 70s to 20% now, as you gave the statistics. The point is that women in the civil service is no longer a novelty. The challenges that I faced or Nirmala faced are not the challenges that the young girls going into the civil service today will face. For me, when I went as the first woman collector of Trichy, there were definitely some of the officials, not IAS officers, non-IAS officers, who felt a little uncomfortable working for a woman. But today I don't think that is an issue anymore. They're quite used to seeing women all over, and we have had women chief secretaries, women director generals of police. They are far more visible and far more in the civil service administrative system, not only in the top echelons, but also along the way. In my time, when I was sub-collector or collector, there was no woman Tahsildar. There was no woman BDO. But today you can see large number of women who are Tahsildars, revenue division officers, BDOs. In fact, I'm very sorry to say, but now at one time it was considered that women, there were so few that they could be trusted and they're generally less corrupt. But even that is not the case anymore. Today I saw a paper report that a BDO woman officer was arrested for some vigilance case. So, we are representing the society as a whole. As we enter into the service, the good, the bad, the ugly will all be there in the spectrum. So the point that I would like to say is that it is no longer a novelty. The challenges that we faced are no longer the challenges that you faced, that you will be facing. But the issue is that there is still a gender divide. There is still a need for achieving more parity. I wouldn't say equality, because the gender differences are such that you cannot have equality. A woman needs parity in the work atmosphere, and a lot of us women who have been in top positions have to highlight these issues for not only women of the administrative service who are the prime civil service agencies. We are a much more privileged lot. There are a large number of women who are working with us within our system who don't have the privileges that we had as IAS officers. Being an IAS officer itself in many ways gave us a lot of protection and a lot of respect and position, which a section officer or a clerk or a typist or even an office assistant does not have. And so we need to be, as leaders in the civil service, look to the requirements of women arising from their gender, which needs to be addressed and highlighted. One of the issues that I have taken up during my career was the issue of menstrual hygiene. This was something, when I started talking about it first, even I was a little hesitant to talk about it openly, because at that time, 20 years ago, nobody talked about. I called Nirmala and a few other officers aside and talked to them privately in the corridor and said, can we talk about this subject? Today, the Prime Minister is talking about the subject. We've come a long way. But the thing is that women in the course of their duties, in the course of their jobs, especially if you're a tahsildar or a BDO or something like that, they face very difficult circumstances when there's a natural calamity, when there's a law and order situation, and being a woman, suppose she is going through menstruation at that time, it's a premenstrual syndrome, or she's just had a baby and she's got some kind of depression issues, or as I like to say now, it is very important that women are lasting longer in service, menopause issues. Are we sensitive to all these issues, and do we need to bring them into focus? Just as menstrual hygiene has come into focus, the whole need for providing, many countries, especially the Nordic countries, have gone on to parental leave, paternal leave, that we have also done, but in terms of a monthly off for women during menstruation, in terms of a menopause sensitive environments, a lot of women at the top of their career go into menopause and then have difficulties dealing with issues arising from menopause and being in top jobs. And I have seen, actually, I saw a serial the other day of women in the corporate sector, and somebody taunting a woman corporate leader who was a managing director of a firm. I mean, this was a story, but I'm sure it is real, that, when she reacts in a particular way, her male colleagues tell her, oh, you're having a menopause problem, you're having a hot flash. I mean, this can be kind of a gender discrimination, which is subtle, which can happen at all across the board. So this is one thing that I have to say, that today in the civil service, you're no longer a novelty. You're no longer have to prove yourself, especially because you're a woman. But you do have challenges arising from the fact that you're a woman and that you will be discriminated against. The system as a whole does not discriminate against women per se, but individuals do. There is still a lot of prejudices and preconceived ideas on what women should do or should not do. And that is not gender alone. In fact, I have faced discrimination, not only for being a woman, but being an urban background woman, for being a Malayali, a Keralite, all kinds of things. It's not only gender, but a package of things that can cause discrimination. So as a woman, it gets highlighted, it gets further aggravated. So you have to be be completely aware of the situation, of all the possible discrimination you can face, and rise above it. You have to know that you can't expect that you will not be a victim of this discrimination. So you have to be completely aware of this and move forward. And then it helps to know others who have gone before you, how they have handled it, how they have moved forward. So this is a point that I would like to say. I would also like to say that being in responsible positions also contributes very much to our capacity to deal with the issues arising out of our gender. In my own case, I felt that menstruation issues or menopause issues got subsumed by the fact that the job was more important. The job actually helped me get over some of these issues because it distracted me away from my personal problems, away from my my great need to sympathize with myself and feel so sorry for myself. There was no time for that. You had to get on with the job and go ahead and do it. So, even when I was 8 months pregnant, I had to have an all-night negotiation with the trade union. I was managing director of a cement corporation. I kept my grown stomach under the table so that they don't notice that I am pregnant and heavily pregnant, and negotiated all night with these workers who were shouting all the time. And at that time, it didn't matter to me whether I was pregnant or not. I just wanted to see that the negotiation was over and the strike was called off. You see, what I'm trying to say is that a good, responsible, heavily demanding job helps us to get over some of the personal problems which would have weighed us down had we not had that kind of a responsibility and that kind of a need to respond to situations. So it helps very much, and we should look at it positively and try to get the benefit of it. There's one more thing that I would like to say. There is a lot which is said against discrimination, that women are not chosen for particular jobs. But, and I have faced that a bit, but I must say the other side also, that if you have proved yourself as a competent woman and a no-nonsense woman in particular, sometimes there is a political need or a policy need to get some mileage out of the fact that, you know, they want a woman. You know, they want to say, we did the first woman home secretary, we did the first woman collector, or we did the first woman something or the other. And then you are a likely candidate. And then your male colleagues feel, what did she do that we didn't do that she's getting picked up? So, you know, there are advantages which you can look forward to. And sometimes you can get not a victimization, but a preferential treatment also, because there are situations in which for some political reason or some other reason, they want to prop up a woman. And then you are available, and it makes it gives you your chance. So it's not all weighed down. There are some highlights also, and sometimes now, you know, the first woman has been appointed as the vice chancellor at JNU. She's getting a lot of attention only because she's a woman, the first woman JNU vice chancellor. All this time we didn't know who the vice chancellor of JNU is, but now because she's a woman vice chancellor of JNU, there's a lot of attention on her. So, you know, it works both ways. The attention is good and bad. Sometimes, and in these days of the WhatsApp world and the social media, you can be torn to shreds. You can be, you know, vilified all over the place. At the same time, you can be made into an icon. You can be made into a great role model. Both things can happen. You have to play the game well enough, be aware of the possible shortfalls and the pitfalls, and work the system to your advantage. So it is in the civil service, especially the higher echelons of civil service, you are in a glass house. Whether you're a man or a woman, you're in a glass house. People are watching you all the time. So in the case of women, it is even more so. The way you wear your sari, the way you wear your clothes, what jewelry you're wearing or not wearing, who you talk to or not to, everything is gossiped about. So, you know, because there's very little else to gossip about. That's what somebody told me. Where is the woman collector, when we have a drink in the evening, that's a good topic to discuss. So we discuss you. You know, I just laughed it off. But the point is, you know, you are there and you are likely to be a subject of admiration, at the same time vilification. You take it in your stride and you prepare yourself for it, and don't get bogged down when you're criticized. There'll be times when you will be admired more than you probably deserve. So you can work it both ways. The last thing that I would like to just to touch upon is the whole question of sexual harassment in the workplace. This is something that is generally quite high in the lower civil service, in the lower police force. I have been Home Secretary, and I know that recently we did have the case of an IPS lady officer which made headlines, but in the lower police force, this is quite rampant. There's a lot of cases which don't come up for enough attention and don't get reported at all. My advice would be that right from day one of your public life and your civil service career, you have to let the message go that you don't want any favors and you will not give any favors. And you're not the kind of person that can be messed up, whether you're in a small place or in a big place. I think that playing coy doesn't help at all. Looking weak and getting some benefits out of that may be useful for some time, but that will be used against you. So to have a strong character portrayed, to have a bold character portrayed is helpful in any possible sexual harassment or any unwanted advances, and generally keeping yourself safe and secure from that kind of an environment. A lot of it depends on the way you project yourself. And I would like to say that in our societies, the Indian girls are brought up to be coy, to slouch, not to sit straight, not to hold your body straight. These are the way my grandmother always told me that you walk like a man, you talk like a man. That's not the way a girl should be. You know, these stereotypes also reinforce the vulnerability and the feeling that you're weak. And perhaps it is time in our universities and colleges and schools to teach girls to be for their posture and their gait, to give the impression and the personality that they are strong beings and they are capable of looking after themselves and not to weak individuals. And whether it is civil service or any service, I'm sure it will contribute a lot. The last point that I would like to say is, especially for those aspiring to be in the civil service, we are talking about leadership. And the first principle of leadership is leading from the front. And you have to not only have moral courage, you have to have physical courage to lead from the front. I've had instances of law and order situations when the police force was heavily armed and heavily protected, I walked unprotected, unarmed into the crowd. And that helped me to establish my credentials as being a fair person, not going to attack them, but one who is equally likely to be attacked by a mob and a crowd. It requires some amount of physical courage besides the mental strength to lead from the front, to give an impression that those who follow you are safe in your leadership. And this comes a lot from some training in the schools and colleges and the universities. But it is a very important aspect since today we are talking about leadership in the civil service and in the administrative service, whether you're in a secretariat job or in a field job, you are at high leadership positions, and you must exercise leadership qualities that inspire your workforce to work for you and trust you and give their best to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nair, for laying out the pros and cons of being a woman in leadership. And yes, the UN is looking at planet 50-50 by 2030. So you touched upon how we work with the colleagues as well, and how we need to be courageous. It's very important. And as you were speaking, one of the participants had put up saying that nothing has changed when you were saying that you were the first women collector, and that was a difficult time in Trichy. But yes, I remember Tirunelveli also very recently, we had our first woman collector in Tirunelveli after all these years. So there are still challenges across the board. So thank you for sharing. And yes, you touched upon a wide range, sexual harassment at the workplace, the courage, the leadership style as well. So I'm sure our participants will benefit and will have questions also at the end of this session. Thank you very much. Now we can move on to Srimati MP Nirmala. So if you could share with us your journey and how maybe a particular incident which you handled and which you thought was will be relevant to this group of participants today. Over to you, Ms. Nirmala.
Thank you. I'm so much privileged that my mentor and guru, so far and so long I was following, Ms. Santa Sheila Nair, spoke to me who has given a very provoking, thoughtful speech. Really, I should be thankful for sharing a platform along with her. And respected PCs, Mrs. Beulah, Ms. Manimekale, Jacinta, my colleagues, junior colleagues, and then the police officer, and friends and professors. Really, it is a very privilege, and at the same time, I can say that the most of the women officers were remembered or be wanted when there is this sort of Women's Day. They said last year we have invited so and so, and this year we have invited so and so, like that. So when we were in Servisa, the last year also, there are people who invited us. So we have shared the platform along with so many eminent people. But anyway, why there is a Women's Day is for to recollect the social, economic, political, and cultural achievements of the women. Because of that, or I don't know, when I was in the office, at the time my men staff used to come along with a big bouquet and said, Madam, it is today is Women's Day and we would like to greet you. I said, have you greeted your wife? Madam, how come, madam? They are all housewives. So they never consider them as a woman. They are housewives. So they are not at all greeted. So next time onwards, what I did is I had that afternoon seminar stating that what the men have did for their household. So that seminar went on, and then really an eye opener for so many people. So the next time they said, before came to my room, they were equipped with some answers that what they did in the house, whether it is real or not. But anyway, the Women's Day is a Women's Day, and it is our day, and we have to celebrate it. And that time only we have to see that how far and how long our journey was. And then, as any officers of the civil service, I was also very happy and privileged to be an officer. Why I am telling this is when my marriage was fixed, that time I told my husband, would-be husband that time, that I want to have a dialogue with him. There, even in their house, they said, yeah, she may like to ask that her salary to be given to this thing or separate family, this, that, everything. He came to my office and I told him, see, it is not just a marriage. I like this job very much and I would like to continue in this job. Or any circumstances, you should not say that you should resign the job. He said yes. And then afterwards, there were so many occasions which he used to say that I have made a promise, but now I am not able to say anything. But anyway, it is part of our job. And I was posted after my training in Kanchipuram, I was posted to Mailaduguri. That is a composite Tanjavur. Those days, they never posted any lady officers there because of so many problems. But I was posted there. Afterwards, the collectors were also be there as a women. Collectors are also there. So some of us there. But when I was posted, even my commissioner told me that Chief Minister asked whether she is able to tackle the issues. That time he assured the Honorable Chief Minister that you just see her performance. So my commissioner used to say that really I have made a good job and good choice of you being posted there. But anyway, being an officer, we have also enjoyed certain privileges which other women may not have. But at the same time, I thought that when they have posted me in social welfare, I thought why this all the time they have chosen women officer in social welfare. But that time there were not except one man. Man was there, one IAS officer, Mr. Sundar was there. Rest of the people were only women. So I said I was in industries department previous prior to that. Then I said that how dare you have posted me in social welfare? Do you think that it is for the women? But when after I joined, only I realized that only women officers are able to appreciate the problems faced by the people there. So many occasions I have seen. First occasion is this when I worked with this social defense department for 7.5 years. I've come across with children who are on the street. At that time, it was estimated 25,000 children in Chennai alone, without a house, without a shelter. So I took up this matter to the forum, that is the what we used to discuss about this budget session. That time it was agreed upon, and we first in Asia, that is the government sponsored street and working children program was implemented, and nearly that time itself we have rehabilitated 25,000 children, because after 25 years of silver jubilee I really went and saw the work, whatever we have started, really helped so many children who are on the who are houseless were also be benefited. My real work, I can say, is when I prepared a note about this cradle baby scheme. I have seen in 88, 89, I have come across that in Uslambati there were a lot of women, girl children were being killed. Infanticide is happening. I went and gave a report to government and asked the government to do something for this. And then really we work hard with so many NGOs, particularly ICCW. And then Usulambati, it was that time it was stopped. And the numbers were also very minimal. But a shocking news came that in Salem, Dharmapuri, Krishnagiri and other areas up to Viluppuram, there were female infanticide. So that time, once again, we went to government and asked for a program, and we have implemented this cradle baby scheme. Out of this, really, when I was a director, I have rescued nearly 354 children and put them in a better placement. Most of the children were given for adoption. Even in particularly in Salem itself, we have given so many girl children for adoption who want, in one side they have filled the girl babies, and another side they want to adopt a girl child. So that was really a very good scheme, I can say, that from the clutches of death, we have rescued so many girl children. Being a women officer, I used to talk to the women, going to them. We have easy programs and discuss with them that they have killed.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself and speak, ma'am. You are muted.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry. Then really the mothers, they used to listen to the to our voice. And we said that being in a government, really we will help those people. And now also I have seen that the children who have been given adoption. Now one girl got married in a very big Kalyana Mandapam, and I was also been invited, and I was happy to be with them. So which the department which I thought that it was why it should be for women, but afterwards I came to know that women can do better than any other man, because so many men are, I can say, failure to implement certain programs by the women and by the women and the children. And if the program is for women and children. And one of the occasion is we have rescued Bombay red light area girls. That time I was carrying, I was on the family way. And then we did so many things for them. And then uh, the last day came, that is the next day, my C-section was fixed. So I told my secretary, sir, today afternoon I have to go to the hospital to be admitted, and tomorrow I'm going to deliver a baby. He said, you know the baby, what is the sex of the baby? I said, yes, I know. So, but anyway, being an officer, I thought that we have to, first priority is for work and then only health. But my doctor scolded me like anything. Anyway, that is as usual. Whenever our health is being a little spoiled, those times the doctors used to say, see, you should at least give an attention to your health. But as an officer, but I used to give lot of thrust to the health of the official. I used to tell them that what they have to do in case of heart attack or any other ailment, and other things I used to tell. One day, what had happened is one of my joint secretary. I came on the day little early, typed the whole thing, and asked him to hand it over the paper to the chief minister's office, and went for a meeting. In the meeting, when I sat, somebody told me that the joint secretary had an heart attack. And then night I went and called him. What had happened is he said, Madam, I've really followed the instructions what you have given. I have not walked. I called immediately the ambulance and the friends. I never allowed people to surrounded me like that. Really, I thought the message what I give is really helpful to them. The same thing with when I was a food secretary, the rice distribution. Usually the people used to say that the rice supplied by this the ration rice is of bad quality. But what I used to do is, even I used to cook on in my chamber itself and see the quality of the rice. So whoever comes and asks the quality and other things, I say only if it is a good quality, I will supply. Otherwise, I won't allow to be lifted. So really, that time they have maintained a good quality of rice supply. Another area for when I worked as a, I am very privileged that I have contributed something is in co-op. Before I entered into, I got a posting in co-op. One of my senior colleagues said, Nirmala, are you going to put a Aligarh law or Dindukal law, because it is in a very bad shape, and I won't even congratulate you for being posted there. But anyway, I took it as a challenge. I talked to the viewers personally, and really, when I came out, it was a 15 crore profit. So really, I thought why I did like this is I like to wear good saris. I like the designs, and then I want that the people who have to come and buy should take their own choices. Previously, it was not at all been given a choice for the customers, but afterwards we introduced customer friendly atmosphere, and we did lot of things. And that time only I have seen that the weavers, strictly speaking, nobody cared their health or well-being. The same thing with the women weavers. Really, their conditions were very pathetic. But once we lifted and given all the facilities, they have come up very nicely. This time I have to tell why I did like this. It is because of my previous, my mentor, Ms. Santa Sheila Nayak. We introduced this sanitary napkin that time. Uh, uh, Previously, the cost of the sanitary napkin went up to even 150 rupees for a number A quality, and 50 rupees for the ordinary quality. How can the people can use this? So, with the help of this IITs and other researchers and other things, Gandhigram and other people, we introduced that time sanitary napkin, 3 sanitary napkin for 5 rupees. So the MNCs who have hiked the price have came down here, and then they slashed the price, and the 150 has become 50 and 39 become 19. So really, we also played a role in the market. And one more area where I work along with the women is when I was a collector in Sivaganga. There, the woman wants to see me as a collector who has to, I have to drive the JCP. Not only drive, I have to dig the soil and then transport, put it in the tipper lorry and everything. So they want that each and every village that my collector came and dig the soil and everything. She drive the JCP. So the people also, other people fascinated, and they also follow the track. And we have deepened so many kanmais in Sivaganga area, so that it was resulted in a very good water storage in that afterwards. And you may say that is there any challenges we have faced? Yes, each and every work is a challenge. Our madam has said that we have privileges, and most of the women who are worked with us does not have that much of privilege. But it is our duty also to protect those women who are with us. When I was in secretariat, I have to work up to 10 o'clock in the night, and how to leave my PC and my deputy secretaries, who are all women, to their residence. And then only I used to go to my house. So at least their family members are least assured their safety. And then regarding this sexual harassment, we have not at all come across in those days, not much. But nowadays I have seen that lot of complaints, lot of problems are there. And then if we want to punish one man, most of the, even not only the men folk, even the women officers are also said, why you have to support that? Why don't you, why you are have to support that lady? That lady's name, everything have came, and then afterwards we have to do something. And the men also should learn the lesson, but that was not the case of punishing one man. Nowadays, there were a lot of issues faced by these women who are in the workforce. Uh, and women have to play a dual role. I can say that if we are, we say that is, we are a successful officer, we may be a failed mother or an average mother at home. Most of the time, after my work, everything, I have to teach my son the previous lessons and the homework, everything. Then only I have to go to bed. Next day also, I have to see that whether his examinations are there, or but I have spent only a little time. Sometime nowadays only I felt a little bad that at least I could have concentrated little more attention to the family, so that at least my sons also be at least cared when they are in need. But anyway, I used to recollect one Quran stating that வித்துமிடல் வேண்டும் கொல்லோ இசைவின்றி அதாவது there is no need to seed a particular own field if we help the other people to do the work. So, like this, I have worked for the underprivileged people, this transgenders, the women workers, and laborers, everybody. But at the same time, I have also seen that my house has been taken care of, but nowadays I have a little hesitation. I felt that at least I could have concentrate little more attention to the family. And area which really helped, another area is the farm fresh vegetables. Really, we have selected 900 farmers and asked them to grow the vegetables, which we have supplied to the people at the reasonable cost. And we have the price stabilization. So when the price is going up, we have the margin. We used to see that in other places where we can get the cheaper rate, so that, and we used to bring them here. So we maintain the market very well. And other area, my mentor has really, she had influenced me in doing so many work. One is that solid and liquid management. We did it in so many areas. And another area is concern for the people. We work together in tsunami. Really, I can say that men also can work, but only women can touch their heart. Till today, people recollected us that we are doing very good work with them, and now they have settled. As an officer, I have seen even real shooting. One of my law and order, afterwards, it came in one movie, Tanir Tanir, where they have blocked the road and other things, which previously have controlled the whole area at that time. But anyway, one good thing about a women officer, even though there were problems, we have to do dual role, both in the office as well as in the house and outside and everywhere. But if we have performed our duty, really we should have that satisfaction of us achieving so many things. That really helped me to, as madam said, that all the time we have a problem of our own. No, there were problems in other areas. Now also, after retirement, I have seen that so many areas which I can also contribute. And nowadays, I am also, as a retired person, I never expected anything. I also contributed a little change in the environment. Really being an officer, I'm really very proud to be work for the well-being of the people, the society, to the government. And now I can say if commitment is there, definitely the officer can, any people can come as an administrator and see that there definitely a see-through changes in the society, in the environment. With this, really thank you so much for the opportunity you have given, and I have also shared some of my few of my experiences, and as well as my own personal remarks. With this, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Nirmala. Thank you for sharing your experience with us and telling us about the importance of negotiation with your partners when it comes to sharing roles and sharing responsibilities. Also, you focused on how empathy is a very important element when it comes to dealing with women and children and the needs of the vulnerable groups. And yes, you spoke about the overall need for commitment and the skill of women in multitasking that really enhances the quality of our work. And you spoke about the networking with NGOs, which is again very, very important. And also the need for involving men. The UN also has focused on engaging men to prevent violence against women. So Women's Days celebrations, we always have a group of women and we talk to them. And when I am invited, I always tell them, please get men there, because there's no point in preaching to the converted. We need to have men listening to what challenges we face and what is their role in helping us sail through these challenges. So thanks for focusing on that as well. And yes, the Cradle Baby scheme, hands were really strengthened with the CRCs and the MDGs, which brought about the legislations and things like adoption, foster home. These were all introduced very much later. And there was nothing like this in the 1985 Juvenile Justice Act. So you took us through your journey and shared all your experiences and the exciting work that you have been doing and you're still continuing to do. So thank you very much, and hope you will be around to take some questions from the participants as well at the end of the panel discussion. Thank you. Now let's go over to Ms. Jacinta Lazarus. Is she in Manimegle? So she would share her experience.
You better call Dr. Annie, and then we will.
Okay.
She hasn't
Okay,
joined.
thank you. Thank you, Dr. Manimegle. And yes, we have law enforcement officer also in the panel, and it's really exciting to know that she is from our Department of Criminology. So she has written a very nice article in one of the books that we have published on the 50th year of felicitating Professor Chokkalingam, who's also here in among the participants. So I'm very happy to invite Dr. Annie Vijaya, IPS, and over to you, Dr. Vijaya, to share your experiences, the challenges that a law enforcement officer would expect in this in this line of duty. Over to you, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, ma'am, and good evening to all. In the first place, I would like to place my appreciation and thanks and gratitude to my professor, Dr. K. Chokkalingam, who's there on the screen. I'm very happy to see him. Thanks to the organizing committee who has made this opportunity to at least see him on the screen. And also my thanks are due to Professor Mani Megalai, who has also been a very good friend of mine. We have been on so many occasions, sharing so many platforms, talking about this cause of the women empowerment and other related issues. My thanks are also due to Madam Beulah Shekhar. Madam, this is the first time I've been able to talk to you directly. Otherwise, I've always missed the opportunities that you have given to me. And once again,
it's still not direct, it's online. We have to meet in person.
Thank you, ma'am. And also my thanks are due to Madam Shanta Sheila Nair, with whom I've been able to associate myself and work during the tsunami period. Madam must be remembering the times when we were there in the Nagatnam. And again, Madam Nirmala was also there in the team. And there were the tough times. We were all there out working against nature's challenges and also working against our own odds in the field. So it's been so nice to see all of them here, all the eminent panelists on the field, and to share with them even my journey in this khaki uniform, inside the khaki uniform, in the khaki uniform, and without the khaki uniform. That would be the story I would be revealing to you all. In the first place, thinking about this choice of being in the department itself is not a much welcome sign by the opposite gender in the force. Because the first comment that I received when I joined the training force was that, why you ladies are being in the force when you should be doing cooking in the kitchen? Then I said, I have men in the kitchen, therefore I have come out to do the work in the field. And he was taken aback. But still, that very comment was very much touching me, and I was wondering whether really I entered in the wrong place, because coming straight from the college and going into a police with all kinds of dreams, thinking that you'll be able to do so much, so implementing all your theories, all your dreams, all your thinkings, and whatever you want to do, actions for the poor. And when this statement came, I knew how tough it is going to be, because that comment came from a very senior officer and I did not expect it to so. And from then on, and each and every moment, it was always that for any occasion, for any challenge, they would say, no, they are ladies, they cannot be able to do it. No, for them, that would not be comfortable, that would not be safe. So this was going on and on in the beginning, when every challenge, when every operation was going on. Then it struck me that if we go on at this stage, at this kind of society, at this kind of an atmosphere, it will be no place for us to continue so. So I started to taking to my likings, to my readings, to my academic field. And then I started establishing to show who I am and what I can do with the existing facilities given to me. So that was there when I started asking my seniors, asking my bosses to say, whatever challenges you want to give it to them, and please give it to me, I'll be able to do so. And then there would be a big shock, and even my colleagues, even my junior male officers would say, Amma, adu vandu ungalku nalla varadu, adu vandu sari varadu, adu ungalku safe ah irukadu. So what is Amma, Appa, Ella onnuda? When you are there with us, why should I be fearing? I will lead you, you can take me along, and I will do whatever you want me to do. So like that, for all operations, I've been involving myself, showing that I can be equal to the men and much more than them. So in the first place, when there was an issue in the Ponneri area, where there was a big fisherman issue area, I was the only lady officer along with my senior officers. So that time there were very few lady officers in the field. And there was a big law and order issue, almost pelting of stones, throwing of logs. And all of us mostly were locked on the other side of the sea, not able to come to the land. And that time my SP was there with me. He said, Annie, can you do it? Can you go speak to the leader and convince him and say that we are here for this? For a second, I was thinking whether I will be able to really do so, because it meant that I should talk to the fisherman leader. Then I backed up all my courage, sir. I was saying. So I went straight there. I said, what is the issue that you want? Why you're having all this problem? Suddenly, I don't know the way we carried, the gentleness with which we thought, the respect with which we gave, and with all the seriousness with we were talking. He got convinced and he yielded, and he came for a talks with my police force, and thereafter the law and order was solved. It was, everybody was so happy that I did the talking, I did the mediation, I was able to solve the law and order issue. So that was the moment when I got the courage, and I knew in myself the confidence that I got to think and to know, believe myself that I will be able to face any situation. Only thing I need to have is believe in myself, have the confidence to do whatever I can do. So in that manner, we started getting on to well to other things. The second thing is, wherever we are giving postings, usually one thing I have always found with the women lot is, we ask for favors being a woman. We think that being a woman, we should ask for permissions, we should ask for leaves, or we should ask for considerations and favors being a pregnant woman or a caring mother or a feeding mother. So all these issues used to crop up, but I used to never go for a stand for any leave, any kind of considerations. Then the next thing what I started to do was reaching out to my women folk in the department. I started to talk to them. I started interacting with them. Wherever I go, I spend some few minutes to hours talking to them, saying, what is the issue? What is all the problem to you? So in that way, I started knowing that they have a lot of issues in the family. Our challenges are basically in the family. The family has to first understand that we are working in the force where our service is required 24 hours. The husband has to understand the wife, the mother-in-law has to understand the daughter-in-law, and the children have to understand the mother. So the family pressures come upon the woman lot, and they're unable to do the full service that they would be able to do otherwise. And as my seniors have been speaking, they've always been speaking about a strict regime of maybe say 10 to 5 or 10 to 7 or maybe 9 to 9. But in the police, it is always the law and order. Any crisis comes up late in the night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, early in the morning, 3 o'clock, or when we want to have a good rest in the afternoon, 2 o'clock. So these odd hours demand us. And when we can afford to be available, to be communicable, to be reachable, and to be quick and to give prompt response, we will be definitely given focus, given attention to. So in that way, even in my career, I was always thinking that the women lot, the children especially, they need a lot of care and children. And therefore, in my career, even in the Tirchi zone where I was working for some time, I have taken this project for the women and children, making a study and analysis of the crimes against women and children, and developed a project called Shield for them with the objective of creating a safe community. This safe community is not only the safeness for the larger sections of the public, but also for the police. The women also require safety in the department. They require safety in the force. They require safety in their working hours. For these kind of attentions, we've always been having these kind of sexual harassment committees in the department, but unfortunately, they have not been working as they should be. There is always having a lapse. There is no direct interaction with many of the officers and the staff below. There is no communication. There is a lot of distancing, lot of lack of coordination and disunity amongst themselves. There is a lot of groupism in the department that prevents a lot of interaction with a lot of people. So the first task is to let know all the women staff in the department that they have a leader, especially a woman officer, who can take up their issues. All their grievances can be solved, can be looked into, and whatever issues they have. And mostly, most of these women lot used to have a lot of these family issues, having issues with drunken husbands, having issues with husbands who used to have extramarital affairs, having husbands who never used to take care of their family, so they used to be the only breadwinner of the family, and all these kind of issues. So put two all together, the women are again kind of in a very weak position, because all these facts are known to the men officers and men in the field. So some of the men do take advantage of these women. So as Madam Sheila and I were saying, we have to give the message that we do not want any favors, any consideration, any assistance. All we need to do is just look upon us as a staff who are having the capability and the potential to do the work that they assign to. So all this has to be carried out in the department. The other thing, as a woman, we need to establish ourselves to show what we are and what good we are. Otherwise, we do the routine kind of policing. So we need to go out of the way of the policing work and should do the other kinds of activities in the fields to establish that we are a very good leaders. As already pointed out, we are leaders to lead by the front. So we should be able to motivate, inspire, and inculcate in all, not only in our staff, in also the public, the faith, the confidence that we are there for all the issues, for all their problems. Usually the public never come to the senior officers, they usually go to the police station, where usually the men are there at the police station units. And the men, by their way of approach and their behavior and the kind of attitude towards petitioners, they're not able to give the result that the petitioners gave. That was the reason in the police department, the women were inducted into the police force to give them the kind of softness, to give them the kind of gentleness, to give them the kind of decency that the woman would be giving to all the public. So for this quality, they were taken into the department. And my advice to all the women was that please be yourself, never give up yourself, never change your what you are, because it is for what we are being into the force, and for what we are in the force, we'll always be appreciated and we'll be given due respect and all kinds of recognition. So in that way, now almost in the department, 50% of the station house officers are women inspectors, and the women inspectors are always they do continue to take their favors being a woman, but I keep motivating them, inspiring them, and telling them again and again that they should be equal to the men and the women, more than the men. But the nature of the police work is such that women sometimes may not be able to rise up to the occasion. We in the senior officer cadre will not be having such issues, but definitely as a SHO, as a SI of the police, when they are there, they might have some challenges. So wherever I've been there, I've been having this leadership training for the women officers, particularly at the SI level and even below, so that they inculcate in them the quality of being a leader and how to lead their team and force towards their goal. So now again, we also have this leadership training for all the women force in the field. Again and again, one thing is we need encouragement, we need motivation from our family members. The first clue, the first motivation should come from our family, which is a very basic for our entire existence. If we get that motivation from our family members, from our relatives, from our friends, we'll be able to perform the best in the field. And then we would be able to do the best to the public, what is expected of us, what they want, and more than what they can dream of. So this motivation is very, very important at all levels, because being in the khaki uniform, being a leader, by theory, it looks very simple. In practice, it is difficult. The challenges are growing day by day, because there are a lot of expectations on the women officers, on the women leaders. They are not merely there to just enforce law and order, but also to contribute to a lot of developmental activities and to do some kind of safetiness for the public, which each one of them are longing for. The whole public are now wanting to have a safe kind of a community, a safe society, a kind of a law and order maintained society with no issues, with no kind of threats, with no kind of intimidation or anything of them, especially the college girls, the school girls facing a lot of issues in the days of the sexual harassment, also moving on to them, where they have facing issues of pressures to love, pressures to get married, pressures to see a lot of things. And with a lot of these mobiles, the internets and all the Facebooks, there are much more technological crimes against the women, in particular against the girls, because they upload a lot of photos on the internet and on the Facebook and on the WhatsApp. And consequent to these kind of activities, there are also the other kind of criminal activities going on. Sometimes we can trace, sometimes it is becoming very, very difficult. All the girls in the society need to now develop a kind of a self-combo model so that they can on their own stand and fight against any kind of crimes that are being committed against them. And they can always call us. We are there. We are given our local numbers. We have a common number for the help in the for the women and the children and the girls in particular. We have been approaching the colleges and the schools and telling them to approach us on this number whenever there are some problems. But still, every day the problem is increasing. We need to also develop ourselves. We need to also framework ourselves, framework our mind, framework ourselves, and to tune ourselves to the emerging trends. However, still, given the opportunity, I would say I would love my generation not to be in the khaki uniform, but it is so challenging. Again, on the other side, I would love them to be in the uniform, because It is only in this bureaucratic post we'll be able to reach to the public and to do some kind of services, which no other post can do. And we have all the credit that we are very much appreciated by the public when we reach them, when we do what they want us to do for them, especially the college girls and the college students. They are very much happy when we reach them and give our numbers, interact with them, give them the feel that we are there with them. So the challenges, yes, they would be on and on. We only need to develop ourselves, know what the challenges is, and accordingly frame ourselves. Because today what the challenges is will not be there for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. A new challenge would be emerging. All that we need to have is have the confidence, have the belief, and above all, the determination to act, determination to work, determination to run, because there is no end for our running. The race has started, and only when we close our breath, our race will end. So till the end of the race, we continue. It is always said, at the end of every rope, there is always a new beginning. Yes, when we come to the finale of the one activity, there is a beginning of another activity. So we need to face these challenges. I always tell my staff, you start loving yourself. Love yourself, love your family, love your job. Then nothing will prohibit you or give you any kind of stress. Be happy, you will give happiness to others. Be patient, you will give patience to others. Be very bold, you will give boldness to others. Be very confident, you will pass on the bold confidence to others. So even this morning, when I was meeting all my staff in the ground in the morning for the physical activity, I was just telling them, just love yourself, keep loving yourself. And whatever comes, it takes it as a normal routine. Do not look upon them as a big challenge, as a big stress. Just keep going. What you can do, you just keep going. Please don't have any stresses, I was telling them. So they said, how can we be without stress? I said, only if you think of stress, there is stress. There's no stress in this world at all. There is only, every step is a succeeding step for the other. It is a step leading to us to the next job. It is a step leading us to the success. It is a step that leads us to the next step, to the gate to all of whatever success we want to see. So all we need to do is just take things as it comes, do the best what we can. And one more thing is for the women lot is, I always have a chat with my friends and say, why is it that we are always stressed? That is, we are very tense and very irritated and all that. I used to say, because we women take things just not 100%. We take more than 100% because we want to give just not the result, but the very best result. So we are so very committed, so very serious, and so task oriented that we want to do the best, give the best, which is the very best. And so therefore it has dumped upon us all the tensions, and we feel that we are very much tasked, very much tense, and very much stressed. Only thing is, if we perform the way we perform always and keep going the way it should go and feel that we have nothing to worry about, just do what your best. It is always said, do your best and God will do the rest. We should do whatever we can. The rest will automatically fall in. And for everybody in this world, we should have no stress, because stress always pulls us down, just brings us down, and can give only confusion. We need to have a determination to work well. We need to have the confidence and the belief to work well, and above all, the energy to work. So keep your mind, body, and everything very, very positive. The positive aura will always help us to do and walk in the road of success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vijaya, for clearly showing your job commitment, job involvement in your sharing of experiences today. Yes, it is a challenging task, and it's a 24/7 round-the-clock job that women in uniform are doing. But you very clearly stressed upon that the police is a service and not a force. We are moving away from the British system of police being a force, and you emphasized on how it needs to be a service as well. You touched upon the very important part of cyber crime as well. So yes, the woman's touch in the police force does make it more victim friendly, and the support of the family is a very important thing as well. And coming to stress, yes, a little bit of stress, the good stress, it may be the eustress, it helps us perform better, but the stress is what you said that we should forget about and move on without thinking about it. So when talking about the tsunami, everybody has been mentioning, now I realize that there have been so many women in the background when this happened, because I was heading an NGO and we used to send our counselors out to Melamanakudi and areas here. And then the government had organized a counseling for counselors so that they would get over that secondary trauma. We call it burnout. When they're always talking to people with trauma, they are also affected. So now I know where it came from. We had so many women at the helm, so all of them understood that empathy was there. And yes, even for police officers, women and men, they need to have this kind of counseling as well, so that counseling services, so they would get over the secondary trauma or the burnout from that very challenging job that they are doing. Thank you very much, Dr. Vijaya, for sharing. And I hope you'd be around for questions from the participants. Thank you.
Dr. Beulah, please open it for discussion. I don't see
Dr.
Jacinta is not joining.
I saw,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, please go ahead. Sorry.
I saw that coming in. So a warm welcome to Ms. Jacinta Lastres, IAS. So we're happy to have you and to listen to your experiences working with for the welfare of non-resident Tamils in this area and the rehabilitation as well. So without further ado, I'd pass on the stage to you. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for inviting me here for this panel discussion. It's a real pleasure and honor to be amidst such eminent personalities and as a panelist to share a few thoughts. I'm really sorry that I had joined a little late. We had some little official commitments. So nevertheless, I thought that because this is a very important discussion and thought that maybe I should share a few of my thoughts as well. Taking a cue from the previous speaker who was speaking in front of me, before me, I would also say, like when Madam Manimehle was mentioning to me that this kind of a discussion is there and would you like to join? When we speak about women in civil service administration, I would say the first thing is about the family support we do have actually. Right from my childhood, I still remember my father, I come from a business family. So we had no clue about administrative jobs as such. And of course, when we saw IAS officers in our hometown, we get very excited. We see that, okay, this is all we can do and so much of things can be done. So blindly, we start thinking that, okay, maybe we should also try. And I would say that my father and my mom, they have always been inspirational and they have pushed me so much that I should go into this career. When you come from a background which has no clue about administration and how, I mean, to be very honest, all I knew about administration is what you see in the movies that, okay, you go give the exam and suddenly you become an officer and then you go and end up in your hometown and start working as the collector. That is the, very honestly, that is what I had thought when I got into the, when I started preparing it. I had got Manipur cadre. And so when I got the cadre, there were a lot of people who were telling me that first thing as a lady, getting into the IAS itself is going to be tough on your family life. And then forget about being in the civil service, and you would also like to go to a place like Manipur where how will you even think of having a family life? How will you be able to manage? It is just not possible. And there were a lot of people who told me that maybe you should just resign and see if you can try again. So that is when I had to take a stand that no, this is an all India service which we had decided, I had decided to give, and I'm going to go and participate and see what I can contribute to the society. Because that was one thing which always motivated me when I started preparing it. This is the society which has made me what I am today. I mean, the education, the environment I have grown in, and everything, whatever is given is from this society. And it is each and every one of us responsibility that we give something back to the society. And administration was one of the biggest ways I thought that we would be able to give that. Now, when I had gone to Manipur, I would say I was one of the few lady officers who were there. Along with me, there was another lady officer from a 1 year senior to me, and we were just two of us. I was very surprised initially when the discussions used to happen and we used to have a lot of officers in the room. We'll go and sit there and they would be thinking that why is she coming and sitting there? What is the need for her to be there in that particular room? Because it was a very compartmentalized society where the moment the lady walks in, she is supposed to go and mix with the officers' wives or the ladies who are sitting there. And we are not supposed to go and sit with the men and start discussing. And which was expected from us is, oh my God, that sari looks very nice. And how do we go on with that? So very honestly, there was a lot of hesitation initially for an acceptance of us. So there was one day when I went to a particular officer and I told the officer, so what is this? I'm also an IAS officer. Why don't they even look at my face? Why don't they look on my eyes and speak to me? Why am I always treated, okay, when if I give a suggestion, they said, fine, that's good. And then they move on. Why is this happening? Then that officer, I always admire him. And so that's what and he told me that, Jacinda, you need to prove your worth. You need to show that, yes, I know. It is tough, it is difficult, it is unfair, but then you need to do that. And that will help a lot of officers who come behind you also. And I would really admire him. And the same way, like how people refuse to speak to me, these were the officers who actually guided me also. We had officers like that also who really told me the way about. It was not a very rosy path, the initial path. And the first day I went and sat in my office, the first letter I saw was the first letter on my table as a young subdivisional officer I'm sitting was a demand letter from an underground group asking me to give 25% of the funds to them. I was zapped. I was like, oh my God, what is happening here? And from that onwards, the path was a very, very different kind of a path. I had gunshots fired in my office. I had bullets which was fired just on top of my chair. We had bomb blast in my office. So many things were there, but I had so much of support from the people also. I would say that also. Because it was a way where I had to show that they can, that is what I always used to tell the juniors who had come there also. The initial time is the time where everybody tests you to see your mettle, what kind of a person you are. They would push you to the corner. That is when you decide how do you respond to such a situation. If they find that, okay, this person is going to be a very weak person, I mean, I would never say that be stupid, but then we need to take, but I always, they try to push and see what kind of personalities this person is, and they judge you with that. And after that, things became much easier because your reputation travels before you reach that place. They know that, okay, this particular officer works this way, and this is all you can do. Even if you push beyond this, nothing is going to happen. And that really helps in the administration. And another thing I have seen which really, really helped me as a women officer was the way I could reach out to the people there. Like women there could feel that they could come and relate themselves to me. When I was posted as the collector, I was posted to one of the most backward districts in Manipur that time, and I was the first lady collector who was posted in that particular district. So it must be just the third day since I've taken office, and a very old lady, 3-4 ladies, they just walked inside my office, and they didn't even allow the somebody to stop them, and they just came inside and they looked. So I smiled at them and I said, yes, what do you want me to do? They said, we don't want anything from you. We just heard that there is a lady who's sitting here as a collector. We just wanted to come here and bless you and go. That is all. Because you don't know how much change this would bring to the women in this particular district. And this was ladies who were like 50, 60-year-old. And that really, really made me feel that, okay, this is worth all the struggle which I have gone through. It really will make a change. And I have seen so many college students, so many children. You just don't have to do anything just by being there itself. It gives you such a lot of confidence for the people there that, yes, as an officer, you can come here, you can do such a marked change. And that itself is like a ripple effect which is happening. So we need to, when sometimes the going gets really tough and things there, but these are the things which really help us when we think about all these things, that when you can make a small change in their lives, it really helps. And at the same time, I have also realized as a civil servant, we need to give the respect which is due to the people. If we start thinking that, okay, I have come to power, I have come to help you, and you are there to take help from me, and that is when we start losing out there. When I think that this is a service which has helped me, and I have come there to help you, I still remember in Manipur, very honorable people, tribals and but very simple people, but very honorable people. As collector, we had gone to interior districts, discussed with them, and we were speaking with them. And we had identified houses which have to be constructed. So we started identifying the poorest of people, and we said, okay, these are the houses which has to be sanctioned. Immediately the sanction was done, it was given in their hand, and I started walking off. A very old lady keeps running behind me and comes. I said, what happened? And actually we had to go by boat there. They didn't have a road also. So we had to go by boat. So I climbed from the boat, went to the village, then was going back to the boat. This lady runs behind me near the boat and she comes there. And I was asking her, what happened? We have sanctioned a house for you. What else do you need? Then she was just carrying one egg in her hand. She said, no, you have given me something, so I have to give something back to you. And she comes and gives me an egg. And she thinks that, yes, it is an equal thing, that, okay, you have given me, I have given you something. I felt so nice that the people, the way the people behave and the way they come and embrace you, it's not as if like somebody, and that, if you allow that to happen, and if you are able to take that and mingle with them and mix up with them, that brings lots and lots of changes in the administration. So that is what I used to keep telling even my junior officers. Luckily we had a lot of junior officers there after that. And it had been always a challenge. In the administration is always a challenge. Every day is a challenge. Every day we find difficult things. But once we go inside and make a mark, and then we have the ideal set in front of us correctly, and our goals, and we know what we are exactly. If we keep ourselves in the grounded, that helps us make a better impact. That's what I feel in the administration. As lady officers, we feel, and it also helps, like as I was earlier mentioning, there were a lot of times when there were even attacks, and there was a particular time when they had come and kept the gun on my table. And they said that this is what you have to do. And I said, I'm not going to do it. And I walked out of the room. I said, because there were some kids of like what, 12, 13-year-old with guns there, and they were coming and sitting, and you don't want to speak with them. So you walked out, and I said, I have better business to do. And I walked out of the room. Then I called up the local people and I said, how come this is happening? And you would not believe it. The entire women folk of that area, all of them came, and they said, like, a lady cannot be threatened. She has come all the way here to work. How could you even threaten? So as a lady, we had that advantage also, that a lady cannot be threatened, and they were protective over us. But at the same time, they also kind of related with us, and it was easy for them to communicate and explain their issues, and we were able to empathize with their issues. At the same time, of course, when we are in the civil administration, family takes a back foot actually. So how we balance that is also very, very important, because at the end of the day, our head is sane only when we are able to have we are able to balance our family life. Otherwise, like how my previous speaker was mentioning, that stress kills us out. So that is very important, that we need to balance our family life, and we are able to manage that. And after I have come and joined here in government of Tamil Nadu, when I have joined here, I wanted to bring the same work ethic, the way I had learned it there. I wanted to bring the same kind of a work ethic where we treat everybody as an equal and we allow everybody to speak. So that gives them the freedom, and they are able to communicate. At the same time, we need to go there and listen to them. That is one thing. I mean, I have been posted as Commissioner Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils. The first thing once I joined was, I thought that I should go to the camps. I should know what they want. I should not start thinking that I know what they want. And that is where we go wrong. Once in the administration, if we start knowing that, yes, I am here to deliver what they want, things go in a much smoother manner. But apart from it, I have always felt that initial hiccup and that advice of the particular officer to tell me that you prove your worth, and then there will be acceptance. That I have seen really well. Because once we have proven our worth, this divide of a lady officer or a male officer slowly vanishes. I mean, that's my personal experience. Once there is an acceptance, then we are treated as officers, not as a lady or a male. So that really helps us in the long run. So I would, my suggestion to a lot of participants who are here is that at the end of the day, once we have finished the work, I should be able to tell myself, looking at the mirror, that I'm comfortable with what I have done. I have done with my heart, of course, using the brain, and I am comfortable with what I've done. And if given a situation in another time, if the same situation arises, would I do the same thing? Yes, I would do the same thing. Then I feel that that is the way forward. And I always tell them that be bold, be firm in what we do. And that is one great thing about women administrators. That's what I keep getting. They say it's very difficult to make you guys bend down. That is really, really difficult. It's easier to tell a guy and make him change his mind, but to make a lady change her mind is extremely difficult. That's what they keep telling. So we need to be bold, tell our views and put in our point, but at the same time be very, very sympathetic and empathetic to the needs, and do what is required for them, not what we think is required for them. So thank you all for listening to me, and it has been a pleasure to join all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lazarus, for making it very clear that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So we had a good, tough group here sharing their experiences. So yes, you spoke about the giving back to the society, which is the different perspective that we need to take, and the power balance also. When It's not the person giving is above and the person receiving is below. So you emphasized on the power balance as well, and the humility that officers need was also emphasized. And yes, talking to the people and giving need-based programs, need-based policies, that also was emphasized. So thank you for the sharing. And yes, I remembered the interaction we had with the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at New York at one of the UN crime commissions, and he has the 50-50 in his parliament. So he was telling us how difficult it was to get women. If any men were offered the job, they just dropped everything and came. But when women were offered the job, they thought about it. They wanted their family to be relocated, and they organized everything. So the support of the family is also what you emphasize, that the other speakers also mentioned that as well. And yes, with the police officers also, we need to, the young participants here, they need to understand that we need to help our children have faith in the police, trust them, and to go to them when they are in trouble. And this we need to correct our socialization process as we see it, because in developed countries, children, when they're young, they're shown a picture of a police officer in uniform, and they're asked to go to that person when they are in trouble. So that they build that trust in a police officer also. But here what we do is when people are feeding children, they say, if you don't eat, I will call the police officer. So that way you're kind of detaching them and giving them that intimidating appearance, which will not let them approach police officers when they are in need. So thank you very much to all the speakers in the panel. And also when the first speaker, Ms. Nair, was talking about the JNU VC. Yes, she was in school with us in Rosary Metric. So we have this school WhatsApp group, and we were talking about how she dreamt even way back in those days. She said she wanted to be the Prime Minister of the country. And so the dream is what gets women where we want to go. And we were also, the other groups of children, they wrote in the autograph saying that when you become the Prime Minister, get us Coca-Cola in India. So that was the level of our understanding of the things. And when people had dreams, you chase the dreams, and that gets you where you are today. So a huge thank you to all the panelists, and we will take questions from the participants if you are okay with it. Thank you all. It was a pleasure moderating this session. Have a good evening. Dr. Manimeghale, are there any questions from the participants?
Yeah, you just...
Are they unmuting and asking the questions themselves? I think that they would like
Yes, yes, they can unmute themselves and ask their questions.
We can take 1 or 2 questions. It is already 4:30. People are there for 2 hours together. And then vote of thanks.
Ma'am, I have my question to Tirumati MD Nirmala IAS, ma'am. Ma'am, you said you have saved nearly 354 children from infanticide. So did you get a chance to meet or did any of the kids meet you, ma'am? After that?
Yes, not all the 350 children. 350 children we have, except 20, rest of them we have given for adoption. And some of the parents, they constantly in touch. But 20 children, really, I am in touch with them. And then now, they are all grown up very nicely. They are the first 20 who have been rescued. Even one child, the child was 1 kilo 250 grams that time. So it was very difficult to save that child. But now that girl has come, she came and she's the hair hostess now. And there are a lot of engineers, the children. Really, if the parents knows that how they want to kill that girls who are like this, definitely they may have the second thought. They may be very proud of their children.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Then I have my another question to Dr. Annie Vijaya, ma'am. Ma'am, you said you have just instructed your staff members about to get free from stress and all. Is there any strategy? Is there anything for their? Is there anything for their work-life balance, ma'am? Women police, I'm asking.
Definitely, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Regarding to getting relief because of stress, we just need to have a simple planning and preparation before we get into any kind of a job or any kind of an assessment. So any kind of assignment we take up, just have a clear thinking and a decision and a kind of a plan model to go ahead, so that you have a time planning, you have a time management, you have a planning management, you have a self-management and overall management of yourself and your job. Therefore, you can get relief of the stress.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Then I would like to ask question to Sheila, ma'am. Ma'am, just how did you just face the challenges at home, ma'am? Because you have to take care of your kids and at the same time. Ma'am? Sorry. So, ma'am, just how did you face the challenges at home, ma'am? Because you have to take care of the kids and all. So how your family people, just family members supported you in that case, ma'am? Because you have just serviced before 20 years back. So just how was the situation there at that time, ma'am?
My greatest support was my mother. And I couldn't have done it without her. And she you know, from when I came back from maternity leave, I was posted as Chennai Corporation Commissioner. I asked the Chief Secretary, sir, how can you give me this job? He said, you don't have any touring. This is only Chennai. You can be here. You can do this job. So, you know, I came with and those days maternity leave was only 60 days or something, not even 60 days, 40 days or something. And I took an extension of some 10 days or so. With a babe in arms, I came to this job, and, you know, nobody else but one's own mother could have taken on that job, you know, and I had to work 18 hours a day as Chennai Corporation Commissioner. It was a very, very tough job. And my child, I remember my son, two things that I remember very well of him. You know, he saw files coming home, and, you know, I was in the corporation for 4 years. So this child grew up in seeing this atmosphere. And I always say that the first word he spoke was not appa or amma or mama or daddy, but file. The first word he said was file, because he saw files all around him. You know? So that was the atmosphere in which he was grown up. And I also remember when he was about 4 or 5 years old, he was always told that his mother was in meetings. Where's your mama? Mama is in a meeting. Mama is in a meeting. And then in the building in which I'm staying, in the apartment building, there was a meeting of the apartment owners. And then he said, I said, I'm going for this meeting. And he said, can I come for the meeting? I said, yes, you can come for the meeting. And then he came for the meeting. He was so disappointed in what the meeting was all about. He came back and told his father, they only talk. You know, Mama says she's doing a lot of work, but all she's doing is talking. You know, so I just want to give you an idea of the kind of family background where, you know, the entire family is part of your job also, in the sense that they are participating in it. They are, you know, they go through the ups and downs. I remember we were celebrating the tricentenary of the Chennai Corporation, 300 years of Chennai Corporation. And my husband sent me a cake, which was modeled like Ripon buildings as a surprise. So it was, my job came into my house, and I didn't leave it behind. It was part of everybody's experience. And the person who I owe most to was my mother, because nobody else could have filled that place. And I don't know how other people manage these days, but I could work with a lot of confidence, knowing that my mother was there, and no amount of other help would have been as great as the mother. Of course, later on, she wasn't with me all the time, but in the initial years when I had a babe in arms who was just 40 days old infant, if it was not for my mother, I could not have managed. I don't know what I would have done really. Now, of course, there are more support systems. I remember when I went into many offices, I introduced creches where people could come and leave their children and come, women could come and work. And I was very happy once I saw in the creche an old man, one of our employees, coming to take the child away. And I said, how is this your child? Because he looked too old to be the father of the child. He said, no, it's my grandchild. And I am so happy that you have a creche here so that my daughter can work and my grandchild can come to this creche. So you don't know how many people, how many generations of people you are probably helping by making facilities available for women. I'm very particular that, we should agitate for these things, like a place for nursing mothers, a place for creches for children, a few days off in the month for menstruating women if they're having a problem, a policy which takes care of women in post-delivery for their, one of our IAS officers did a lot of work on post-delivery depression leading to suicides among the young women. And, dealing with those issues, dealing with issues, because this is specific to our gender. And we have to be sensitive about it. We women officers have to be sensitive about it. And since I'm long retired now, I also think it's very important to give a space and an environment which is conducive to menopause requirements also, because that is again a difficult time for women. And also, I also say, the woman not only all these problems about the family, but then your adolescent children, when they're adolescent, the problems that they go through, and you have to deal with that also, that you have to have a very supportive family, because that's the time when things can go terribly wrong. And that is also perhaps that in my case, I married late. So it was also the time when my child was going through adolescence, I was going through menopause. So, it's very difficult to deal with this, but I must say that I found the job a solace. It was a comfort. It was a place to get away from it, a place to get over my stress, some stress at home or some stress there, but at work, you were able to leave that stress behind and get over it, and it helped. And I think it will contribute very much if women are able to look at their work as a source of support also, and not as another area of stress. If we can balance these two things, then maybe you can, get the better of both worlds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Any other questions from the participant side?
Is there anything on the chat box? You just check.
Let me know. No, ma'am. They have given their feedback.
I just wanted to ask Jacinta, how did she manage to communicate? Did she have any issues about communicating with the women? She was so comfortable talking about her communication with the women in Manipur. So, did she have no issue about I would like to know a little bit about that. Thank you.
Communication, of course, initially was a little difficult, and I always had to have a translator. But the women folk, they were very simple. They actually were very, very accommodative. Initially, when I had joined there, I was not very comfortable even in Hindi. And in the tribal areas, Hindi was quite prevalent in Manipur. So initially I had to pick up Hindi, and of course it came to a stage where they could understand, because their Hindi was also not a very proper Hindi kind of a thing. So they could understand my Hindi better than a proper Hindi speaking person speaking Hindi there. So it took time, but of course a basic small thing as sitting down with the women and smiling at them, and knowing that of course you are willing to listen to them, that actually made them feel more comfortable. And of course I never had a problem with my eating habits or anything like that. So when I go to the house and I'm able to sit down with them, I have a small cup of tea or what. There actually they have this habit of, when they think that a VIP or a special person has come, so they put in the tea a little bit of coffee also, and they put extra sugar. So it is terrible when you drink that. But then when you smile and you say, yes, thank you, they feel so happy that, yes, they are being, so, and of course, I did have to use a translator most of the time, because there we had the tribals where every small area had a different dialect. So I did have to use that, but of course, beyond that, it was very nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions from the participants?
I think we should go for vote of thanks. I request the person in charge to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Respected.
I tune line, sorry.
Sure.
So I thank all the four panelists. We could get at least 3 generation spread administrators. So the difference has been like Madam Shanta Sheela saying that the issues would be different, not much like their generation. But I was wondering, when it was totally different there at Manipur. She was dealing with the bombs, the bonfire, the gunfire, gun coming and placed there on her table. So it is also region specific. It is generation specific, a different issue. But you have to also, so how dare you could handle those issues, and though the support system were very much available, so that is to be appreciated. So all the 3 generation we could get many things. And when Madam Annie was posted here in Trichy, the very first day she invited for all the staff the gender sensitization program. And when Madam Shanta was here, it was like a pride, Trichy's pride, first collector, women collector. And Madam Nirmala was there in her office. We very much associated and creating this menstrual hygiene management consortium, and extensively worked to promote and integrate menstrual hygiene to total sanitation. And we did go to several, like Madam Shanta will come there, to Subaraman scope agencies, the EcoScan toilet initiation, etc. So that were all very much informing us how an administrator should be active and very much women friendly. And above all, it is a social cause. With all the speakers, 4 speakers, when we went there to meet Madam Jacinta, as she rightly pointed out, she'll be so accommodative, listen to you, respect you. And there were discussion that study has to be undertaken with the refugee women. That is a huge issue. So I said I had been involved, and therefore it can be taken up. So we were waiting. So this kind of interactions that we had now must have both here in this and also the YouTube stream participants a kind of an inspiration. And thank you all for being here and accepting our invitation, and had taken time off to spend with these participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Manimeghale, ma'am. It's my great pleasure to propose a formal vote of thanks. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, very good evening. It's my pleasure to thank everyone towards the success of this roundtable series 4 Women Leadership in Civil Service Administration on behalf of the organizing committee. First and foremost, I'm much delighted to thank Dr. Vaideki Vijayakumar, Vice Chancellor of Mother Teresa Women's University, Dr. M. Selvam, Vice Chancellor of Bharatdasan University, Dr. Vasanta, Registrar of Madurai Kamraj University, for their support in organizing this wonderful roundtable series. Then it's my pleasure to thank the dignitaries who decorated the forum with their experiences to the young bucks. First and foremost, I thank the Ms. Shanta Sheila Nayak, retired Secretary of Government of India, Delhi, for her motivational towards youngsters. Ma'am, your positive view on women participation motivated the young bucks to get accelerated to get out from the issues. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presence and shared your experiences here. Then I, on behalf of the organizing committee, thank Srimati MP Nirmala IAS, retired Principal Secretary to Government Tamil Nadu. Your inspiring words about men contribution, cherish the young, cherish the women folk, ma'am. Your contribution in preventing female infanticide is unforgettable. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and motivated youngsters here. Thank you so much, ma'am. Then I'm much delighted to thank Dr. Annie Vijaya, IPS, DIG Vellore Range. Your words are really inadequate to appreciate your service as an IPS officer in Safe Community Project at Trichy. Thank you for your just valuable time to share your experiences here. Thank you so much, ma'am. Then I thank Ms. Jacinta, Commissioner of Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils. Thanks for joining us, even in your busy schedule. We know how the situation is going on, and even in that situation, you have come here. It's doubly honor for us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Your words, reaching out the people will be the key for successful service. Really, that is very much inspiring us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Then I thank Dr. Piyula Shekhar, Senior Chair Professor of Criminology, National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science, Delhi, who concerned to be the moderator for this roundtable conference and honored us, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful presence. I also thank all the co-committee members, Dr. N. Manimekhalai, ma'am, Founder Director of Women's Studies, Bharatdasan University, and Dr. Jennifer, ma'am, from Madurai Kamraj University, for their excellent support in organizing this roundtable series 4. I also thank all the participants who are actively participated and just always share their views through the chat box. Thank you all, one and all. I thank them again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meena. Thank you.